60 frames per second. But if you're trying to push out a certain resolution and frame rate, that's going to be impacted by your video bitrate. Under encoding, we're going to select the processor that we want to use to process the data of our stream. The X264 uses your CPU's processor to process data, and this can actually add a lot of load onto your PC and cause a lot of issues as far as quality is concerned. The NVENC encoder is recommended as it uses your graphics card and can handle the processing a lot better than your CPU typically. Now there's two options of NVENC. You can use the standard NVENC or the NVENC New. I highly recommend using the hardware NVENC New, as this is the most updated for Streamlabs OBS. And then finally, under audio bitrate, we're going to select 128 for the bitrate, as this is what's most widely accepted by stream platforms. When we scroll down to the recording section, this is going to be some settings that impact if we're recording a static video, not live streaming, but just a video that we're recording similar to this one. We're going to select our recording path, which means the folder that those videos are going to be saved to. And then we're also going to select the stream quality. I highly recommend using the indistinguishable quality large file size. The recording format, we're going to select MP4. This is really the most widely accepted file format for like editing or other things that you might do with the video file. And then similar as before, we're going to select the hardware NVENC New for the encoder. And now that we've done that, let's take a look at the advanced mode under output. Specifically, what I want to look at is just a few of them for the sake of this video. So we're going to want to make sure our encoder, again, is set to hardware NVENC New. And we're also going to want to leave this checked, this enforce streaming service encoder settings, because this is going to help us pair our encoding settings with the platform that we're streaming to. We're going to want to leave the rate control to constant bitrate, or CBR. We're going to want to make sure that we use the bitrate we determined before in the bitrate category here. And then we're going to want to set the keyframe intervals to 2. For preset, we can leave this at quality, and this is a setting that you can adjust depending on any quality loss that you see while you're streaming. For the profile, you can leave this at high. Some people make an adjustment to this as well, depending on the quality that they're seeing from their stream. And then under GPU, you're going to leave this at 0, and then the max B frames we're going to keep at 2. Once you've done that, select Done. Next, we're going to look at the video tab. So under the video settings, we can adjust the canvas, which is our base PC monitor resolution. So if you're using a 1920 by 1080p monitor, you can select that here. Under the output scaled resolution, this is going to be the resolution that you're pushing to the viewer or to the platform that you're streaming on. So I recommend monitoring this and making adjustments to it depending on quality loss or dropped frames that you might see. Downscaling this to a lower resolution can increase the quality that your viewers see and experience on the platform they're watching on. And we can also leave the FPS type to common FPS values. Under common FPS values, we're going to select either 30 or 60. Now, this number is going to be determined by the game that we're streaming. For example, if we're streaming a high frame rate game like Apex Legends or Call of Duty, we're going to want to leave this frame rate or this FPS value at 60. If you're streaming a game that doesn't have as much frame movement, we can leave this at 30. For me, because most of the games that I stream are high frame rate games, I stream at 60 frames per second. Under the audio tab, we're going to select our desktop audio device and our mic auxiliary device. Now, we can select multiple of these, but for the sake of this video, we're just going to select one of each. So under the desktop audio device, we're going to set this to default so that we use our computer's default audio output device. And then under mic auxiliary device, we're also going to keep this at default so that we use our computer's default audio input device. Under the hotkeys tab, you're going to be able to change and set hotkeys for a ton of different actions, like switching scenes or showing and hiding a source. And this is something that you can use as necessary as you discover what your needs are while you're streaming. Under the scene collections tab, you're going to be able to export and import any of the third-party scene collections and overlays that you've installed on your computer. And the last setting for this video we're going to look at is appearance, and this is where we can set the theme for Streamlabs OBS. I particularly like the night theme. We can also change the scene item selection